Sean Payton is channeling his inner Vince Carter after winning the dunk contest. It is over. The Denver Broncos have officially won NFL free agency. They make a massive signing, and first day of mandatory OTAs are in the book. We have so much fantastic news to cover. If you're new to the channel, I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan named Ben. Not only are things great for the Broncos, they are falling off the tracks for several AFC division rivals, and you just see how different things are in Denver than they are across the league. Let us dive in. So obviously the massive news of the day is that the Denver Broncos did make the move. They brought in the last weakness that you could truly argue that is present on this team, which is that of running back. We definitely need a veteran presence in that room, and I'm going to point out that this is not going to take away from the development of Audric Estime. This is not going to take away from the development of obviously RJ Harvey. We're going to get to that in just a second, but let's talk about JK Dobbins. Absolute a beast, like a still a very relatively young player. You take a look at his production through 13 games last year because of the injury, and he still outperformed Audric Estime, Jaleel McLaughlin, and Tyler Bidet combined. So like this dude is legit when he's healthy, and he is now coming into the training room that keeps guys healthier than any other team in the league, that took this team that was the most injured team in football before Sean Payton arrived and changed over that training staff to being one of the most healthy teams. And so, yes, it is a gamble on his long-term health, but he's not going to be the bell cow back. Sean Payton is going to develop RJ Harvey and Audric Estime at the same time, and he is going to exploit mismatches all over the place, and it's going to be wild. I don't think there's any other way to paint this other than the Broncos definitely won NFL free agency. You look here, like his production last year, we remember it. Like it still it haunts my dreams of thinking of playing JK Dobbins last year. And the fact that the San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers still had a tender on him, and that if he didn't have a deal by July 22nd or whatever, he would have had a deal with the Chargers, even though they still have Najee Harris and JK Dobbins, just shows you what a great running back he truly is. He had 96 yards in his game against us, the game that Pat Surtain went down with a concussion. And the only other running back who ran for more on us all last year was the first game of the season when Kenneth Walker went off against us. We didn't even know if we were going to be playing him, and we didn't know how to game plan for a brand new coordinator there, or a brand new head coach there. And so he is still a very, very good running back. All you got to do is just look. I'm not going way back in the way back time machine. I'm just going back a couple months to what he did. Take a look at some of these runs and his the different types of runs he can excel in. So obviously you got him on the outside right there. There's a couple plays in here where you see a level of patience with him in a muddy middle pocket there where he finds the hole, and he's not quite, he's not back there dancing like Le'Veon Bell used to, but look at how muddy that hole is right there. And that's the kind of thing where you see Javonte Williams just run into the back there for a loss of 3. There does not look to be a hole there to even exploit, and you just see him bust through there. And that was when they were playing the Raiders, when they had a healthy Wilkinson, and was one of the best running defenses in the league. You see him on screen passes. I just think you now have a mismatch nightmare that we have RJ Harvey as a rookie, Audric Estime as just like a thumper, and then you have him who can do it all and is a very, very adequate pass protector as well. Do you remember that play right there? I'll never forget. Like, come on, guys. Like, let's stop this guy. And we just couldn't. So I think this is a tremendous signing for your Denver Broncos. There's no other way to look at it. Just seeing, it seems as if this deal has maybe been done for quite a while. There's actually some folks on Twitter who were reporting it early, and everyone was dogging on them, and it actually came true. You see JK Dobbins tweet this out and kind of like, hey, Chargers, you're going to wish you did not let this thing go. And just the Chargers, man, you don't draft a Marion Hampton there. Run it with Najee Harris and JK Dobbins and fill some needs that you have. You should never draft a first-round running back unless he might be, future Barry Sanders, which is what the Raiders think they have. So you even have Adam Schefter being like, this is going to be a nasty offense. You now have veteran and you have a rookie who has a tremendously high ceiling. Now, here's the point. Everyone's saying like, oh, this isn't a good move. Now we're not going to know what we have in RJ Harvey. We absolutely will. This is how Sean Payton does business. We broke down in other videos. He always has dudes go off. Even when he had Reggie Bush, he's splitting carries 3 ways. Like if you had Reggie Bush and you gave the ball 100 times to another guy, you'd be like, what is this guy doing? But Sean Payton knows what he's doing. He always has these 3-headed, 4-headed monsters in the backfield, and that's what he has here. He is going to exploit whatever defense you come out on. He's going to know what JK does well, what Jaleel does well, what Audric does well, what RJ does well, and he's going to line you up in a way that is going to absolutely hurt you. he talked all about how he thinks that RJ Harvey could be Bucky Irving for these Denver Broncos. Bucky Irving, of course, the guy from Tampa Bay Buccaneers who went off on us last year. That was a tough guy to tackle. And we remember he put Alex Singleton in skates for sure, although Alex Singleton probably had a torn ACL at that time. But Bucky Irving had 1,500 yards as a rookie. Would we be thrilled to death if RJ Harvey had 1,500 yards? Absolutely. Well, Bucky Irving only played on 45% of the Buccaneers snaps, so you do not have to be the bell cow back to make a massive difference, and I think this is exactly the mold we're going to see from RJ Harvey, and I don't think JK is going to slow that progress whatsoever. But let me know in the comments, how hyped are you? I feel like this thing is over. Let's go through the rest of Broncos OTAs, first day of mandatory OTAs, and it was a great one. I've heard from multiple reporters who I texted, and not like a flex. I just like spam them until they write back. They all say what I thought I saw on video, which is Bo Nix is super jacked right now, and you can see it. We'll let this video play a couple times. Great video by DNVR, but like his arms are bigger, his legs are bigger. He still has his quickness and burst, but like I don't know if that's a medium jersey for him, but his arms are just popping, man, and he looks every bit on point. You're hearing multiple other players and teammates saying how far ahead he is than he was this time last year. Brandon Jones said, like, we're blown away by how far ahead of last year he was. And you're seeing like he is connecting deep and connecting all over the place. He already was one of the most accurate rookies ever last year. That is just going to continue. And you think about the plethora of riches that we've given him. You now have a tight end, and you now have like a running back room that is going to get you massive yards on the ground, and that's a fantastic thing. Here's the hype video that the Broncos put out, just a sick video of how this day looked. And you are just seeing a team that is young and hungry and ready to compete and win the AFC West, and I'm so excited about it. You saw him right there, but the massive news of the day is that we had 0 holdouts on this team, and that is a fantastic thing. We're hearing that JFM looked great. We're hearing Q Robinson looks incredible. Pat Bryant stepped up, and Devon Bailey was away from the team, not for a holdout reason, so probably a personal reason. He was at all the voluntary ones last week, and Sean Payton is not concerned by his absence, so it could have been emergent. Who knows what it was, but there's no holdouts happening whatsoever, even though we have a bunch of guys being encouraged to hold out. You saw Alfred Williams, one of my favorite radio guys ever, encouraging Nick Benito to hold out, but he's like, nah, I'm not going to do that. He did not hold out, and he was there, and you're just hearing Pat Bryant, RJ Harvey, and Q Robinson all look fantastic. And when you have Andrew Mason, who is not like a big hyperbole guy, he just reports the facts, come out and say, man, these kids are going to be all right. We were going to be all right last year, and we were going to be all right if we didn't add any rookies, and we just had all of our rookies from last year take a step forward, and we dominated free agency. I think we just put the exclamation point on Denver Broncos win free agency, and now it looks like we might have had 3 or 4 rookies who hit. Watch out, NFL. Absolutely watch out. So big news that you have John Franklin Myers present. Sean Payton called it, and a lot of people were saying that was a lie and that Sean Payton is capping and you don't know if he's going to be there. Well, Sean Payton is batting about 1,000 as far as I am concerned. John Franklin Myers was there, is not holding out. And when you look around the rest of the NFL, guys, we are wildly lucky. Just look at a couple of our AFC opponents who are going to be fighting for playoff positioning against us, and the train is off the tracks, especially with the Cincinnati Bengals, who we got to play on a primetime game in Mile High. And they are just an absolute cluster, without a doubt. So not only is their best, they just cut one of their former team captains, an inside linebacker, just cut him because they can't afford to pay him. Then on top of that, their best defensive player, one of their best sackers, and truly the only guy on defense who scares you, is still holding out, and they're nowhere close, as their mandatory OTA started, nowhere close to a deal. The guy they drafted to compete and to like maybe fill in if they trade Trey Hendrickson is also holding out, and it gets even worse than that. As a rookie, he had an interview at his locker today that was just like blast. Like he put the team on blast. Like I don't even feel like a 10-year vet should talk about the ownership group and the team like that. He came out and said, I'm 100% right. It should be a no-brainer that you sign me. But the Bengals, if you want to win, you should just sign me. And I guess they don't want to win. And he just put them on blast. So you see one of our opponents, we got to beat for a playoff spot. That is fantastic. Their defense was already a sieve and basically held together with scotch tape. And the tape is off, and it is fantastic. You look at another team that we're going to be competing with for the playoffs, and that they are also having a holdout for their best defensive player, TJ Watt. When he started getting injured at the end of last season, that team didn't scare us at all, and that was a team we all circled saying we wanted them in the playoffs. And another holdout holdout. And then we have another team. We hear all about how Jaden Daniels is this great culture builder and he's better than Bo Nix. Well, he doesn't get all of his receivers to show up. There's also another holdout with the Commanders and the wide receiver nicknamed Scary Terry. Well, you know what's scary? Bo Nix is scary. He's terrifying. He's unbelievably terrifying, and that's something we can get hyped for. How pumped are you? We got a new running back, JK Dobbins, baby. We got a ton to Bo-LIEVE. Where's my ball?